Let's go to question 3. The function f is defined by f of x equals e to the x power sine x, where x is all real numbers. A. Find the Maclaurin series for f of x up to and including x to the third power term. We do know e to the x power equals 1 plus x squared over 2 plus x to the third power over 6, and so on. Sine x equals x minus x third power over 3 factorial plus x to the fifth power over 5 factorial, and so on. Therefore, e to the x power times sine x equals, we need x to the third power. So, we will get 1 plus x squared over 2 plus x to the third power over 6 times x minus x third power over 3 factorial is 6. Do the FOIL. 1 times x times negative x to the third power over 6. We got x minus x to the third power over 6 plus x times x is x squared. X times x to the third power is x to the fourth power. We only need x to the third power, so we don't write down that. Keep going to this. X squared over 2 times x is x third power over 2. That's it. Combine like terms. X plus x squared plus negative 1 over 6 plus 1 over 2 times 3 equals 2 over 6, which is 1 over 3. 1 over 3 x to the third power. For B, hence, find an approximate value for this integral from 0 to 1 of e to the power of x squared times sine x squared dx. We already got e to the x power times sine x equals this. We will change every single x into x squared. We got integral from 0 to 1. X squared plus x squared plus 1 over 3 x squared to the third power, and so on dx, which is x third power over 3 plus, this is x to the fourth power, so we got x to the fifth power over 5 plus 1 over 3 times x to the seventh power over 7 from 0 to 1. Do the substitution. Substitute 1 for x, 1 over 3 plus 1 over 5 plus 1 over 21. Let's work this out. Equals 8 over 15 plus 1 over 21 times 5 times 7. We got 105 as a denominator. Numerator, 56 plus 5 is 61. The function g is defined by g of x equals e to the x power times cosine x, where x is all real numbers, show that g of x satisfies the equation g double prime of x equals 2 times g prime of x minus g of x. 4 marks. We will prove this. G prime of x equals e to the x power times cosine x prime, which is e to the x power prime times cosine x plus e to the x power times cosine x prime using product rule, which is e to the x power cosine x plus e to the x power times negative sine x. Organize e to the x power times cosine x minus e to the x power times sine x. Then g double prime of x equals e to the x power cosine x prime minus e to the x power times sine x prime. We already figured out this prime equals this. So we just need to copy down e to the x power cosine x minus e to the x power sine x. So for e to the x power sine x prime equals e to the x power prime sine x plus e to the x power times sine x prime, which is e to the x power sine x plus e to the x power times cosine x. Pay more attention to this minus sign. So we change sign minus e to the x power sine x minus e to the x power times cosine x. Then cancel equals negative 2 e to the x power sine x. Left hand side equals g double prime of x equals negative 2 e to the power of x sine x. Right hand side equals 2 times g prime of x minus g of x equals 2 times, plug in e to the x power cosine x minus e to the x power sine x. Then minus g of x is e to the x power times cosine x. Simplify, cancelled, equals negative 2 e to the x power sine x. So g double prime of x equals 2 g prime of x minus g of x. C2, deduce that fourth derivative of g of x equals 2 times g triple prime of x minus g double prime of x. We already know from C1, g double prime of x equals 2 g prime of x minus g of x. You could say when we change g of x into g double prime of x, then do the substitution here. We got g double prime of x double prime equals 2 times g double prime of x prime minus g double prime of x. G double prime of x double prime, which means fourth derivative of g of x equals 2 times g double prime of x prime is g triple prime of x minus g double prime of x. D. Use the result from part C, which is this. Find the Maclaurin series for g of x up to and including the x to the fourth power. From previous questions, we got g of x equals e to the x power times cosine x. G prime of x equals e to the x power cosine x minus e to the x power sine x. G double prime of x equals negative 2 e to the x power sine x. We know this is the formula. G double prime of x equals 2 times g prime of x minus g of x, which means g triple prime of x equals 2 times g double prime of x minus g prime of x. So g double prime of x equals 2 times g double prime of x is negative 2 e to the x power sine x minus g prime of x is this. Minus, we need to change sign, e to the x power cosine x plus e to the x power sine x. Combine like terms. 2 times negative e to the x power sine x minus e to the x power cosine x. Simplify. Negative 2 times e to the x power sine x plus e to the x power cosine x. The fourth derivative of g of x equals, use this formula, 2 times negative 2 e to the x power sine x minus 2 e to the x power cosine x minus g double prime of x is a plus 2 e to the x power sine x. Combine like terms. Final answer, negative 4 e to the x power cosine x. Therefore, from here, we got g of 0 equals 1. From here, g prime of 0 equals 1. From here, g double prime of 0 equals 0. From here, g triple prime of 0 equals negative 2. From here, we got fourth derivative of g of 0 equals negative 4. Then we will use f of x equals f of 0 plus x times f prime of 0 plus x squared over 2 factorial f double prime of 0 plus x to the third power over 3 factorial triple prime of f of 0 plus x to the fourth power over 4 factorial times the fourth derivative of f of 0, and so on, to work out g of x. G of x equals 1 plus x times 1 plus x squared over 2 times 0 plus x to the third power over 3 factorial is 6 times -2 plus x to the fourth power over 4 factorial is 24 times -4. Then equals 1 plus x minus x third power over 3 minus x to the fourth power over 6. Keep going. Here, keep going. So g of x equals this. Let's go to E. Hence or otherwise, determine the value of limit x approaches 0 of this. Limit as x approaches 0 of e to the x power times cosine x, which is g of x. We will do the substitution. 1 plus x minus x to the third power over 3 minus x to the fourth power over 6 minus 1 minus x plus all over x to the third power. Let's organize limit as x approaches 0 of combine like terms. Negative x third power over 3 minus x to the fourth power over 6 over x to the third power equals limit as x approaches 0 of times 6 for denominator and numerator. We got -2x to the third power minus x to the fourth power over 6x to the third power divided by x to the third power top and bottom. Limit as x approaches 0. Do not forget plus ... top and bottom divided by x to the third power. We got -2 minus x plus ... denominator 6. Then plug 0 for x equals -2 over 6, which is -1 over 3.